yes, indeed. It's time for another safe space, and I hope you're ready for this one because we are going to get into the black pill. Oh, yes, we've got Polly in the chat room, Brassneck, Fred, Gordon, Irvin, Jason, Kristen, Legend, the one and only Lothar on his very own black and white pill. I love you, brother. Louisa, our time-traveling quantum princess. We've got Matt in there, Pat Studio, the people's poet, the one and only, our connection to Norway, Scott. Sid in the chat room, and my first ever computer, a ZX81. Yes, indeed. So many more coming into the chat, and we'll get to everyone as this show goes on. But we've got so much to get into. Stimulate nipping in there, and make sure you are on live chat. Live chat, not top chat. Big hello to Tiffany, Paul from Newcastle. Oh, they're all coming in today. We've got Subtle Energy. Yep, they're all here. Charlie Robinson, in to get a dose of the black pill, man. Oh, Charlie. Charlie, I got your email. Myself and Scott want to come with you to Anarchapulco and partake in the activities you listed. Oh, yes, indeed. And right after that, we'll get back to dosing people with what they think's a red pill, but might be a black pill. There we go. There we go. We're here. We're live. It is the Friday safe space, and it's a very special one when you've got Charlie Robinson in the chat room. You know, the glazed donut himself in there, Scotty boy. He's growing the beard as well. I don't know if it's coming on as well as mine is. I've got an LGBT beard, but it's more pastel coloured than rainbow coloured. It's got gingers, it's got light greys, it's got bright white, you know. Oh, good, Scott. It's like the chameleon beard.
It's a very diverse beard.
You see, you get it, right? I'm trying to be inclusive of all hair colours out there. I wouldn't want to offend anyone, you know, that couldn't share in my colourful beard. But how you doing, brother?
It's one of those days. Things kind of got a little crazy right before the stream kicked off here, and but we're good now. We're good. Technical issues, I'm used to dealing with them, so.
And it's funny you say that, right? Because, and I don't do this just like, I'm not saying this because it's Black Pill Day, Scott, but do you ever get those days where there's just something lingering, like you don't know what it is, you can't put your finger on it, it's like something's imminent. And I hate using that word, but I've had this feeling before, right? I've had this feeling before. And I've always stopped myself from talking about it or going on to Facebook or Twitter because you see it all the time. Oh, something bad's coming, right? But you know, more times than not, when I've had this very same feeling, I've regretted not calling it. And I say that because usually within 48 to 72 hours, it doesn't need to be something hugely disastrous, right? Doesn't need to be, but something significant goes down. I don't know. There's no way. I'm not some prophet. I don't know what's happening, but I recognize this feeling. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there probably is some level of precognition going on there, right? And maybe you should sort of embrace that feeling and kind of go with it, especially if it's been confirmed multiple times, you know what I mean? And so that's just something you can't ignore. If it was just kind of a fluke and it just happened every once in a while, then
exactly.
You know, but if it happens pretty consistently, then you know maybe there's something going on there, and you should kind of embrace that and then just go with it.
Embrace the woo. Embrace the woo.
Embrace the woo, man.
So Scott, today we're going to get into something that's pretty new on me. And it's all your fault. I blame you entirely, right? And somebody in the chat room, Legend, my good friend that's close by here in Glasgow, Say good friend, that's terrible of me. A legend that I know from the chat room, okay? Oh, Kev, you're on the mark, I think. You know what? You see, confirmation. And Fred Doe, no, I don't have inside information. Anytime you hear me saying I've got some deep state intel source, you know I'm talking out a hole in my bum, not even out the hole in my head at that point. But yeah, so we've got maybe a bit of confirmation. I'm not the only person feeling this. Hey, Fred, not Fred, sorry. Legend, maybe they've just turned on another aspect of our smart city, and this is us dealing with it now. Maybe this is just the norm now, dude. But yesterday on the show, Scotty Lopez, towards the end of it, brought up something called the black pill. And I'm thinking to myself, now hang on a minute. I've heard of 3 pills, and most people have only heard of the 2, but I've heard of the blue pill, and you can go to the Matrix, and if you take the blue pill, then you happily live on in this imaginary, illusionary reality, okay? You just stay asleep. You just go along to get along. You believe everything you're told by the mainstream. You get it. Or you take the red pill, and that way you start to see what reality is all about, and you start to recognize the illusion that you and everyone else has been held in. So that's the 2 pills there that I used to be commonly kind of familiar with. And then my good man Unirock, he threw a spanner into my works entirely because he came up with something called, not the blue pill or the red pill, but he started talking about the magenta pill. So and he was saying, Scott, that, you know, the red pill, the blue pill, it's all about con. And he came up with this magenta, not magenta pill, but the magenta pill, okay? But so I thought 3, that's my whack. There's 3 pills out there. That's cool. But then, oh man, did you throw me down a rabbit hole when you started talking about black pills, Scotty? You truly did, because today I thought I can't have Scott, like, having all the onus on Scott to talk about something that I've got no clue about. And I'm not going to be a lazy so-and-so and not take a look at it so I can have a conversation. But bro, this is like an entire, like, spectrum of woo and madness and craziness. And it affects all of us, especially if we're here watching this today. We're into this kind of content. We're looking for truth. The black pill is something, it takes many forms, Scott. We have to, it does take many forms, but we have to be aware of.
Yeah, so I guess I should just kind of put this in a nutshell, right? Because it's a very multifaceted thing, and there's a lot of sort of different takes and a lot of different views on the black pill. But essentially, the black pill kind of represents pessimism. You know, it's kind of a more nihilistic view of everything. And obviously you don't want to be in a black pill mode 24/7 because that's just not healthy for you.
There we go. Oh, Susie, you get the new emoji.
Waiting for Noah's Ark with all this rain.
Susie, I had to look out the window a moment ago. Look at that dude dance, man. Old pineapple head Kev there. He's not taking no black pill. But Susie, I had to look out the window a moment ago to see if Joe was coming to pick me up in his ark. You know how Joe does a side gig as like Noah? It's absolutely torrential. I tell you, Scotty, us Brits, we moan about the weather anyway, right? It's bad rain, dude. That's what we're getting at here.
Yes. Yeah.
You see that whole super chat put you off, didn't it? That whole Kev dancing as the pineapple, it kind of disturbed you.
That's gonna take a little bit for me to adjust to the shenanigans of the super chat. So
and I've turned down the delay time now as well, so it's pretty much, it comes in instant, dude. It gets there, hits people right in the face, damn. And it's Joe's favorite music.
It is Joe's favorite music.
So Scotty boy, and I thank anyone for supporting the stream here. It's absolutely so appreciated. You don't know how much it means. And if you like to do that, then we've got the super chats, like you see. We've put the new dancing Kev on there. I don't mind laughing at myself because I don't give a shit what other people think. Okay, so you can also join the channel, become a member. And this Sunday, the first members live stream, we're going to keep it open for anyone to come, but we're going to put members only chat on. for the first week, okay? So that everyone can still have their KBS fix, shall we say. Not the black pill dose, although sometimes under certain definitions of the black pill, I have been known to partake in a little bit of the black pill pushing. But Scott, I'm coming back to you, man. I'm shutting up. You're the black pill. Talk to the audience about the black pill, dude.
Well, I do like my pills like I like my metal black, and no, but I mean, if you think about it, I guess a lot of black metal bands do like to drop a lot of black pills too. So if we can, so yeah. But no, I mean, when you drop black pills on somebody, it's a very pessimistic view of things, and I think somebody in the chat, Mr. Clip, said black pilled is basically modern stoicism. It's just kind of looking at things from a very hey, if it looks bad and if it looks bleak, don't sugarcoat it. You know what I mean? And you can't lie to somebody all the time and tell them that things are going to be better and that things are going to get better when in reality things aren't getting better.
Yeah, this is one black pill variant. It's the pessimistic, the kind of really kind of giving up. There's nothing you can do. Just throwing your hands up in the air, seeing through the illusion basically, but bringing you to the conclusion that there's nothing you can do about this, right?
And I guess if you think about it, the black pill thing, it sort of also ties into the whole clown world meme, right? The whole thought process behind that, right? Because if you look at the clown world meme, with the Pepe the Frog and the clown, being the clown and all that stuff, the whole thought process behind that was basically, look, everything's gone to shit, right? Everything's gone to shit anyways. There's nothing we're really going to be able to do to stop it, so we might as well just sit back and laugh at it. It's clown world. It's so you could also say that's kind of,
is that where the safe space is at?
I guess so. I mean, you can basically say that that's kind of an extension of black pilling, right? We're not going to be able to change anything. That's kind of a black pill view of things. We're not going to really be able to change the direction things are going. I mean, we can try, but so we just got to kind of sit back and laugh at it and have fun with it while we still have time, so, and, obviously it's not healthy to have a black pill attitude all the time.
No. Although that takes us into a kind of another variant of the black pill, right? Because this also gets into the whole males and female conversation as well. And some of the things I was looking at today, Scott, and I've got one article we'll go to in a moment, but a lot of this black pilling stuff, you'll find a lot of the stuff that's written about it starts to wander into the incel, the involuntary celibates, the really kind of young men, who have kind of just kind of given up and they've got this nasty, horrible attitude. And that was another bit of the black pill that I kept coming across today. So like I say, there's different explanations and different times to use this black pill thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I said, it's probably not good to sort of be in this black pill mindset 24/7, and that's kind of where these incels are, right? They have this bleak outlook on everything, and it just, and somebody in the chat earlier mentioned, well, if there's a black pill, then there needs to be a white pill, and yes, there is a white pill. That's called optimism. That's called, if you drop a white pill on them, it's saying, hey, everything, it's not all bad. Things can get better. You know what I mean? You could do things to improve your situation. We can make a change, so there is that. And, you got to have a healthy balance of both, I think. You can't, you can't sit there and you can't sugarcoat everything and tell everybody that it's going to be okay 24/7, right? Like a lot of these kind of new agey gurus are like, oh, positive thinking and just stay happy all the time, and if you do that, everything's going to be magically better, well, that's just feeding someone a bunch of bullshit, because guess what? Not everything is positive all the time. Not everything is going to be better. You're going to go through hardships. Things are going to get bad, right? So, and it's the same with the black pill, though. You can't just be telling everyone all the time that things are just going to, be absolutely terrible, or have this negative attitude 24/7. But there are times when you do have to face reality and face that, we're not in a good position and it doesn't look like things are going to get better. And so, it's just a healthy balance of both. And, it's interesting you bring up the red and the blue pill, because it does seem like once you take the red pill, you go down the slippery slope, and it really does lead to the black pill pretty quickly, because
Scott,
think about it.
Yeah, because this ties in. We've often talked about our own awakenings, our own journeys, and how now we're at a place where we've become, I would say, more logical, more skepticism on a healthy level. And we still know that there's a lot of the conspiracies out there that are very real. But you come to a realization, you've lived through so many of these events that you get to a stage where you gain a bigger understanding. You see the bigger picture. You don't get too invested in the minutiae. And you realize, yes, that there are a lot of things in the world that aren't the way they tell us. Some things aren't quite as bad as we once imagined along this journey. Another stage of everyone's awakening when they're absolutely convinced, be it the Freemasons, be it the Jews, you get it, right? And it's all different stages. And this red pill, this bit here going into the black pill, that's a stage. That black pill's a stage, I think, that we all go through.
It is. Think about it, right? You're right. Like when we've...
And Lothar, no, I wasn't picking on you, brother. I wasn't picking on you. It's a common thing, dude. It's just an example.
But think about it. Like, whenever we quote unquote took the red pill, or we woke up or whatever, right? And we started looking into like the agenda of the New World Order and all of the things going on, and how everything, we've been lied to, and things are not as they seem, and then you get to a point, like you said, to where you kind of become disheartened, or you feel like, wow,
it's overwhelming,
Yeah, it overwhelms you, and you're like, wow, this is dark. How are we ever going to defeat this, or how is this ever going to change? And then you kind of get into that pessimistic view of everything, where you're like, did they win? Are they going to are we ever going to be able to change anything, or are we ever going to be able to do anything? And at that point, you're essentially kind of in that black pill mode. You're in that black pill mode, to where you're like, we tried to do something, and it's going to be fruitless, and whatever, the Georgia Guidestones are going to come to fruition eventually. Just lay down, let it happen.
Bring it on, dude. Bring it on.
Yeah. So, but then, like you said, you kind of get past that phase 2, and you realize, well, maybe things aren't as bad as they seem. But things are pretty bad. I'm not gonna sit there and
you can't sugarcoat it. You can't sugarcoat any of the pills, Scott. You can sugarcoat the blue one. It comes with lovely sugar. It comes with lithium. It comes with all sorts of lovely additions to it to keep you in the illusion. But when you're going down this road to any level, sugarcoating, there's no way to do it, dude. If you're doing it with a sugar-coated kind of approach, you ain't doing it right.
I think a good representation of like black pill philosophy, you might do a search on YouTube real quick. Just type in the Doomer, Doomer, and it's a meme, and it's a meme And
the doomer lifestyle. How about that?
yeah.
So it's like being married. Hard for sure, but there's something that feels so good about sharing your life with somebody. How do you share your life with somebody?
What craziness have you got me watching here, Scott? This dude's got a bit of a problem that me suggest. And here comes the good-looking dude to go and batter him, right? But you see, let me jump in here, Scott, right? When it gets into this aspect of things like this dude here, I mean, I'm taking this as your typical kind of incel, right? Right?
Yeah, that this kind of, is sort of your archetypal, representation of the incel. There's a little more to the doomer, I guess, than just being an incel.
He takes it further. I take it as we go on in this video. We're probably going to see that this dude takes it to the extreme.
It's funny though, because the little shadowy figure that came in and pulled the blind shut.
Yeah,
it's an outline of a meme called the Chad, and the Chad is your super. So
yeah, we've got a comedian over here that talks about. He's got a joke about parties in Scotland, and then he talks about parties in America. And he starts getting in this mad, crazy American accent about how we're all going to Chad Hogan's house this weekend. His parents are away. Chad Hogan's the big kind of jock, and he plays for the football team. And yeah. But you see, dudes like this have to realise that women ain't looking for guys like this, Scott. This isn't attractive. You've got to. Men have to suss out what women like, dude. Damn, dude. This is like dark. So this dude, the doomer, and it comes from a channel called Prince's Zimbabwe, folks.
Oh my God, that is an absolutely brilliant YouTube channel. You should probably subscribe to it.
I'm there. 164,000 subs. It's doing something right, I tell you that. There you go. But yeah, explain how this ties into the whole black pill and stuff, Sky.
Well, the doomer is usually the one that's dishing out black pills. You talk to that kind of guy, the doomer, and they're the ones black pilling everyone. They're just dropping, we're all fucked. We're all gonna, there's nothing we can do. Just whatever. We just have a meaningless existence, and it's all gone to hell. They have that attitude. That's why I thought I would bring up the doomer, because
well, you see that there's another kind of variant of this black pill that myself and Scott have loosely kind of been touching on before we came on air today, right? And we'll go to the Urban Dictionary definition of this in a moment. But what Scott was talking about and what me and Scott were talking about, this stages of waking up, this journey that we're all on, this information quest, whatever you want to call it, right? I don't know about all of you, but at times it gets the adrenaline going. You start to follow a thread of stories, and you start to uncover some stuff. And regardless of whether it leads you to any more truth or not, you get that adrenaline rush, right? It starts to get exciting. I don't know about you, Scott, but when you're first learning things that you'd never heard about before, and you're realizing the way the world really works, it's a buzz. And you can be there. You can be on that train of thought. You can be doing it for hours. The adrenaline's pumping. And then, of course, there's that adrenaline buzz as well, that kind of chemical thing that goes off in people when you start to get into the world of the fear porn out there. Now, this is another kind of variant of the black pill or the bleak pill, because there's some really questionable characters out there who have really noticed what I'm talking about here. And for some reason, some people actually, they crave that fear vibe, that chemical release, whatever it is that goes off when they're watching all this doom and gloom and the world's ending tomorrow, next week, next month. Doesn't matter how wrong the people get it. You know, these people are looking for the next doom, the next it's all over type video, right? People get stuck in that mindset, Scotty. And we go to the Urban Dictionary. Go on, you go, man.
No, I was just going to say, you know, it is weird, right? I mean, and maybe, I don't know, maybe because people who peddle that doomsday apocalypse sort of, you know, stuff, you know, like your Begleys and stuff out there, right? Maybe that appeals to people that are like the doomers.
I would say the 17th letter of the alphabet ties into this as well, because they give people the dates.
It's really...
Yeah, there's dates involved
weird.
And there's something to look forward to, and everyone builds up that kind of, you know, oh, it's coming, it's just around the corner. And even when it doesn't transpire, they'll immediately forget about that and move on to the next date, because they want that fix again, man. It's not hopium. I don't think it's hopium per se. It's like something mainlining to the heart and to the... It's not going... In fact, it's going straight to the head. It's not going to the heart. They're not truly like feeling the shit, right? And we've got this here, the black pill, the Urban Dictionary, always a source of fun and games. It says a catastrophic prophecy or spiritless prophesying for the future that is not necessarily grounded in reality. And they call it a red pill gone hopelessly bleak. Now, like I say, there are people who have recognized that some people want this black pill. They might not realize it. In fact, they're in such an illusion, although they claim to be awake, that they, when they're offered the black pill, they still see a red pill. And they end up going back and back and back to people like this.
Are you serious? Are you serious, guys? You know, there's Bible prophecy in process. It's taking place everywhere. People ask me all the time, can you tell me where we're at in Bible prophecy?
You've been telling us where we're at in Bible prophecy time and time and time and time again. And what you're doing, my friend, Mr. Begley, is you've got a big bag of black pills, but you've managed somehow to corner that market of people.
He's weaponized the black pill.
Yes, he wants to hold them. They're addicted to the black pill, and they're convinced they're taking red pills, Scott.
Yes, exactly. So, you know, it's really, you know, interesting, you know, thinking about all this. And, you know, the representation there of the doomer, I think that, you know, a lot of people say that that's kind of a representation of millennials, a lot of millennials in general, you know, that they feel, you know, that there's like this depression kind of
somebody
thing.
in the chat room, Scott, Jason, he says, does being obsessed with end times count? If so, I'm black-pilled. I don't know. Is that the same thing, Scott, if you're just like looking at, you think the end is nigh? Because I think every like civilized, every generation at some point has always thought the end is nigh, right?
Yeah, I mean, black pill is just basically a term for something that people have felt all throughout time, right? You know, anybody that has kind of this pessimistic, well, it's all going to end at some point anyway, so why bother? You know, that's basically the black pill mindset. You know, I don't know, like obsessing with...
I think there's a difference between watching that stuff and then going out on the street with a big sign saying the end is nigh and telling everyone about it. That's where the doomer comes in.
Like, I mean, I you know, I guess you could maybe even, like, you know, I guess a case could be made that even our friend Joe Joseph is kind of a black pill kind of guy, right?
Yep.
You know, because he always, you know, he's like, hey, we're in the end times, you know, the signs are there and blah 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 blah, but which is fine. I don't have any problem with him talking about that and stuff, because hey, he has sort of legit concerns about that, you know. So but you know, it is kind of like a form of the black pill, You know what I mean? It is kind of that, just saying, well, there's no way you're going to stop it, right? I mean, that's kind of Joe Joseph's take on things, right? He's like, you're not going to stop prophecy, Bible prophecy, or whatever, whatever's coming down. It's set in stone, and all we are is, we're just along for the ride, and however we decide to take that ride, it's up to us, I guess. But but like I said, you can't just be on the black pill 24/7. It's not good.
No.
Good at all. You need to be more like the Bloomer. You might look him up. I think the Bloomer is a pretty good balance of what we should at least try and achieve. Yeah. You have these memes like the Doomer. You got the Bloomer. I think you got the what is it? You got a couple of these like different archetypal kind of characters that this guy on this channel has created, and they're really good representations of people.
You're gonna get me banned for having the frog on there, man.
Yeah. You got the Boomer, you got the Bloomer.
YouTube millionaires scamming fans to make even more. Whoa, imagine my surprise.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the Bloomer, represents somebody who was a doomer.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's goofy stuff, man. It's goofy meme stuff, But I guess you could say like the Bloomer is the guy that he was the doomer. He was so black-pilled and pessimistic, but then it was like he saw something that gave him hope, and so now he kind of has an equal balance of both, which I think is where everybody should be at. But anyways, yes, that's what the black pill is. And
we've got another one here. We've got another take on the black pill. I found this today. I found somebody talking about this article, and this comes from a couple of years ago, and it says concerning nihilism, overcoming the black pill. And I've seen somebody talking about Mandela effects in the chat room. I'm going to write that down. We'll have a quick talk about that before we go it today. Wrote it down. I've got it there. Okay, so this here says, and it comes from a website called thewardenpost.net. One of the things that I've noticed, I'll blow it up so people can see it. Yeah, one of the things I've noticed from people within my own generation is a pervading sense of hopelessness, reflected in everything from their sense of humour to their world outlook. Now, certainly the amount of suicide jokes which show up in my newsfeed bears witness to this. I'm certain I'm not the only one who has noticed this trend, and I'm even more certain that a few eyes reading this belong to people who in fact do feel an ever-lingering sense of hopelessness and despair. It's for those people that this article has been written. The following is not meant to be taken as a pat on the back or kind words of reassurance. I want to be perfectly and utterly clear of one thing. It is not going to get better, ooga booga. There is a phrase that has been floating around in spheres of thought which appeal to our ideas, which is described as taking the black pill. I'm certain that those reading already know what it means to be red or blue pilled, but may not be familiar with what it means to be black pilled. Well, the black pill is pure nihilism. It is the complete and total despair of the minds to the realization about our universe's uncaring indifference to human ideals, dreams, hopes, and desires. alt bad person and writer Colin Liddell writes of the black pill. You like how I done that one, Scotty, didn't you? You got to play Word Olympics when you're reading an article, dude. It says it leads from actual inferiority back to actual inferiority. It is nihilism, but nihilism made flesh calls forth absolute egoism, a sense of the self detached from wider context and responsibilities. It is this that makes it evil and murderous. The inferior person can either accept context and therefore inferiority or fight it. The blue pillar rejects his future inferiority by retreating backwards into illusion. The red pillar rejects his present lack of superiority by marching forward through positive consciousness and action to redress the situation. The black pillar, however, chooses neither the palliatives of illusion nor the challenge of positive action. He stares into the abyss, passively because his actions will never be capable of changing it, and, as Nietzsche so prominently observed, the abyss stares back.
And alas, you get the doomer.
You get the doomer, exactly. I don't think I'll probably read all of this, folks. See how big it is. It's quite a big one. Yeah, we're not going to read all of it. But that was quite a good quote there, Scott, that bit that we got to there. I'll read another couple of paragraphs, but I'll do it, folks, and I'll drop it in the description. I'll put it in the link below as well. It says there are people in this world, and even within our circles, who have given up completely. Joe Joseph. Let's just abuse Joe since he's not here. Don't tell him. Shh. Some of them might even be reading these words right now. To them, the position has been lost, and Western civilization is an unsalvageable mess whose future is the slow, mournful procession to the dustbin of history. To these people, I say that if that is truly your state of mind, you can stop reading right here. If you have nothing more to say to you, I have nothing more to say to you, and it would be fruitless of me to try and change your mind anyway. However, for those of you who are indeed going through your own personal dark night of the soul, if even amidst the proverbial black dog snapping at your heels, or that nagging voice in the back of your mind telling you that time is running out, that this is your life now, and it's never going to get better, still feel the lingering glow of embers of pride in the pit of your spirit, continue reading on. So for the duration of this article, I could talk about how our collective leaders do not simply ignore, but actively encourage our demographic replacement in our homelands. Likewise, I could talk about the travesty that is how big tech giants are currently using every means possible to shut down, censor, ban, or algorithmically deplatform all dissenting opinion, which currently strays from the globalist narrative. Or if I was really feeling up to it, I could bring up that our own justice system is perfectly happy to pardon murderous criminals and illegal aliens who defile, torture, and outright do bad things to our own people in our own communities while imposing the most unfair and egregious sentences for our people who kill in the name of self-defense or blacklisted from their jobs for voicing dissentive views, or rally to defend their heritage and defend the memory of their folk heroes and honoured dead. So that could go on and on and on, and let's see how it kind of concludes here. There might be some kind of we cannot be shallow as to wrap up our pessimism in the dark shawl of apathy. Those who have taken the black pill, who have given up on everything, who are bowed or who have bowed their heads in submission to their own personal inferiority, are right when they say that they have nothing to lose. Likewise, they have nothing to gain. But as I have said, and will conclude by saying, that the following words are not intended for the already lost. They are as shades, spiritually dead and cannot be saved. Would that be the NPCs? What concerns us is what we, the living, must do in the course of the coming centuries. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to be here a couple of centuries from now, unless Craig Venter gets cracking on that kind of immortality gene. Man, as a rule, is far too arrogant to think of the world outside himself. Fair point. Everything our predecessors have done has been to create the world that they wanted in their own image, to the furthest extent that they were, for better or worse, able to. It's up to us to remake the coming future in the image of our own desires. This will take time, decades, if not centuries. We do not have any other options. We are walking a tightrope. To our right is a bad thing, and to our left is our people's extinction, and beneath us is the same pit which leads to death. Above all else, we must keep in our mind that keep in mind that old Roman maxim: the fates guide those who will, those who don't, they drag. Da, da, da. Quite interesting. I'll drop that right now in the chat room, Scotty. But yeah, probably worth taking a really, really good read of that. And don't worry, folks, we'll be going into the chat room at some point. I haven't forgot about all you brilliant people out there. But all I've seen so far is Kristen in the Streamlabs bot tagging my name. And a big shout out to Avtar in there as well. Big shout out to you, brother. Avtar, can I ask you a weird question? Did you email me about memberships? If you did, just type yes, yes, yes or something so I see it coming up. But yes, Scotty, Black Pill, am I happy that you introduced me to this? Because there's a lot of black pills out there, and me, for one, I wasn't bloody aware of it, dude.
No, I mean, like you said, I mean, there's black pilling on different levels, you know, and I also think, you know, you see this increase in, well, it's just like the article said there, like you see like the jokes about suicide
1 minute,
or the memes
Scott, right?
about.
I'll leave you with our brilliant audience for 1 minute.
Yes, yes. So you see like the memes about like suicide or people posting memes about like their crippling depression, right? And it's become this ha funny joke, you know, to kind of like joke about depression like that. And so it's kind of like been mainstreamed, this bleak outlook on everything. It's cool now. And there's a reason for that. You know, this has been a plan that's been going on for a long time. It's part of the demoralization of the population, you know, to make the population feel hopeless and that they can't do anything. You know, that's how governments, you know, retain control over a population. You get them into a servile sort of attitude. And that's where, you know, the New World Order wants to lead everyone to where they don't feel that they can fight back, that they're completely demoralized, and that they feel that there's nothing that they can do to stop it, right? So in a way, I mean, they kind of want to black pill everybody. They want everyone to take the black pill and feel totally hopeless and that there's nothing that they can do. Right. So there is that aspect of it. And you see it. I mean, look at the music. Look at the music scene right now. You know, me and Kev, we've done shows, right, with Ryan Gable talking about these pop stars, right? Like that, Billie Eilish, right?
Oh, I came back at the right time then. Billie Eilish. Oh.
Yeah. So you know, I was just telling everyone, Kev, you know, while you're away, that this whole black pilling thing, it's kind of become mainstream culture, you know, culturally, you know what I mean? That article made an interesting point, right, about the memes and the jokes that come through about suicide and depression, right? You see like you'll see a meme talking about, oh, my crippling depression or something, and it's just kind of like this ha funny, yeah, I'm depressed, we're joking about it, you know, but why is depression and this bleak sort of outlook on life, you know, become this prevailing thing? And I was explaining that, you know, this is a plan. This is something that they wanted to do.
This is programming, Scott.
It is programming. They want to demoralize the population, because if you have a servile, demoralized population, they can't fight back against anything because they just see everything as, well, there's nothing we can do. It's hopeless. All we can do is just kind of lay down and take it. And so it goes beyond just kind of the black pill meme and the doomer meme. It's a much larger operation, I would say, to just demoralize the population. And like I said, I mean, you can just see it in the music scene right now, popular, in pop music. You would think pop music was supposed to be cheerful and happy, right? A poppy tune with fun lyrics, and you're dancing around
That's
and
what it used to be,
and then you go, yeah, that's. Then you go listen to like Billie Eilish and her lyrics and all of that stuff. It's like super dark, super depressing, just really weird stuff, right? It's almost like the black pill rolled into a pop music form, and it's just not her either. I mean, there's other artists, real popular artists, that, especially in the rap scene nowadays, it's very very depressing music, very dark and depressing, and it just seems like this whole thing is just being pushed on the masses. It's just normalizing, like depression and suicide and this bleak outlook on everything, which obviously it's not good. It's not good at all culturally, right? So yeah, I just think you're seeing this black pill mentality. Well, it's basically nihilism. That's all it is. It's a nihilistic kind of postmodernist view of everything, just permeating throughout modern culture right now, and then why is it any surprise that suicide rates are at record high levels, and depression is at all-time highs, and there's so many contributing factors to all of this. It's crazy. It's crazy, the situation.
And this whole kind of nihilism, defeatism, pessimism, that leads to that same wave function, that same vibration frequency as fear, I think. I think this helps to generate the fear. And then you can start taking out into the weird, wonderful, and metaphysical, and all the kind of good stuff with multiverses and entities that are controlling the place and everything else. But there was a quote I seen the other day, and it was, how Max Egan, he always starts his podcasts with a quote of the day. Yeah, we love Max. We'll get him on here one day, actually, because Max does a lot of live streaming, so we can just throw a kind of invite out to him, Scotty. I messaged him a few weeks ago on Skype. He'd be up for this kind of thing. But he had showed a quote from H.P. Lovecraft, and it goes like this: "The oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is fear, and the oldest and strongest kind of fear is fear of the unknown. It is a mistake to fancy that horror is associated inextricably with darkness, silence, and solitude." Yep.
Hey, Jason in the chat said, "Hey, Scotty, what about black metal?" Yes, black metal is probably the most nihilistic and black-pilled form of music you will ever listen to. But you know what? If you choose to listen to black metal, you know what you're getting into. If I wanted to listen to a pop song, I'm pretty much expecting that it's going to be a happy, cheerful song with a nice upbeat, thing, right? It's a pop song. And so, yeah, when I choose to listen to black metal, I know what I'm getting into. I know I'm going to be listening to some really dark, black-pilled, nihilistic disturbing stuff or whatever. But I know what I'm getting into there. I'm just talking about pop music in general, because most people don't even know, you know, what they're getting into when they listen to it, right? That's why I always say your mainstream pop music is much more dangerous than some obscure metal band making making black metal in a shack somewhere in Norway. You know what I mean? Most of the population don't even know what black metal is. So is it really that much of a threat to anybody? But most of the population has been exposed to mainstream pop music at some point. If they've had their radio on, if they're flipping through the TV, their children are exposed to it. That is where, if you were to be a nefarious type of person and want to embed symbology and subliminals and all of the stuff that they like to accuse metal of doing, right? And you know what? Metal does it to troll. Really, most of the time, a lot of these metal bands that have satanic imagery and pentagrams and wicked, scary album covers and stuff, they don't really believe that. And a lot of the times, they're the nicest guys on the face of the planet. Metalheads are some of the coolest people ever, right? But if you were really wanting to, subliminally put stuff into the population's head, you would put it in a pop song.
Well, look at the event that the Super Bowl has become. Look at that halftime show. Now, I must admit, Scott, the past 2 or 3, I think probably 2 in particular, I've been kind of sat there looking forward to these things coming up, only to be really let down. And I say that because we went through like spectaculars where you had it was Katy Perry, I think it was, and you could probably spend about a month decoding all of the symbolism from the Black Horse song that she sung there. You've had pyramids on there. You've had all the kind of stuff that would make people like me and you, Scotty, there's a cornucopia of things to talk about. This is where they do that programming, because you've got the biggest probably watching audience in America that day, tuning into that. Everyone's attention focused on this event, young, old. And of course, these symbols, whether we think there's power to them or not, there is. And on a subconscious level, they are helping to program us.
Yeah, they totally are. That's why they choose those events to do that at, Super Bowl, halftime shows, Olympics, Olympic opening ceremonies. I wonder if people have sat there and analyzed a lot of the performances at VMAs and.
I mean, there's even there's even books on Amazon about it, dude. Look, an analysis of the occult and Illuminati symbolism ritual. That's by Isaac Weishaupt. I wonder if he's any relation to Adam Weishaupt. It's a different spelling, I get that. But since we're talking Illuminati, let's go there. Come on. I had to,
Is he Bavarian?
He is now. He is now, right? He is now. We're going to say he is now anyway. Definitely, dude.
Yeah, so yeah, I think that's where most of the programming and the subliminals and the symbology is actually found, is in pop culture, pop music, because you can affect much more of the population that way, right? And that's why it's pushed. That's why it's what is it? What do they say? Out of all of the pop stars, I think there's only 6 producers that produce.
It's like
their
the
music.
media, right? It's like the media. You get this illusion that it's all independent and free, and they're all doing their own stuff, and then when you start to follow the tentacles, as our old friend Charlie Robinson with his octopus, octopuses, octopi. What is the plural of octopus? Tell me.
I say octopi.
I say octopi. But then when I say pie, my mind leads to other more disgusting things. But that's a different conversation altogether. But yeah, you're right, Scott. They are controlled by these few people. And what Ryan Gable has come across, what I've noticed is the people that produce the videos. There seems to be a very closed shop there. You find the same producers being used time and time and time again. And we were talking yesterday on the show, the Kev Baker show, about how the young girl that's been used as the climate stooge right now. She's been used as a puppet, you know. And these pop stars, they should be called puppet stars, Scott.
Yeah, they really should. And, you know, a lot of them, they don't write their own music. They don't write the beats.
Charlie Robinson's in there. He confirms octopi. Octopi, Scott. It's octopi. And folks, if you want to see the dancing, Kev, don't be shy. Throw in a super chat, and you get to see Kev making an absolute clown of himself. And by the end of the show, you're also going to see Kev. Would you say it's like me, almost like dressing up as a furry, Scott? Am I getting my furry on?
That one is pretty disturbing. You don't want Medicare seeing that one.
No, Kev has learned how to make GIFs, everyone. Dangerous. Photoshop levels took a whole new jump in potential now, folks. The things I'm going to do with Joe Joseph, I just need to get Ange to film him doing something. Just walking about even, and then we can GIF him up, Scotty. We can get him GIFed up. Or we can get him doing something on the webcam. We can get his doll face. We won't even tell him we're going to GIF him up, right? Because I know Joe doesn't watch any of my material. He thinks I'm absolutely bat crap crazy. I'm only joking, folks. But he won't listen to this. So we'll get Joe Joseph with a good one. But yeah, by the time we leave you today, I am going to make a complete, not arse of myself, but maybe a bunny of myself. Oh, a little Kevy bunny. Told you things get weird.
Is there a case to be made that all of these people pushing the climate change alarmism are...
Oh, that's the ultimate black pilling. That's a black pill cult.
Yeah, it's a black pill cult, man.
Yeah.
And it's prophesizing apocalyptic outcomes that isn't based on reality, just like the Urban Dictionary said, right? Yep. So they're literally a cult of black pillars. So yeah, and it's kind of like I said yesterday. I think we need to get Begley a job over with Greta. They're pretty good about hyping things up.
Begley, don't mention that name, dude. That'll trigger me. Oh well, whoa, Bellstar. Get ready, folks. Are you ready to do the dance? Are you ready? Come on, get ready, everyone. I'm getting ready. Are you? I'm even going to clear the screen for this one, folks. This needs its own platform. Are you ready? Get ready to do it, man. Come on. Don't let me down. Don't let me down, STREAMLABS. You like that, Charlie? You see, Charlie? That's how I roll.
Love the show and you people in the chat.
No, Bellstar. Let me throw that right back at you. We love you. We love all of you out there. You don't think I'd be coming here every day if I didn't actually enjoy doing this, do you? This is a blast, especially when I can laugh at myself as well. Scott, did you have to go away because you were laughing so hard there?
I blip in and out of existence. It just happens time to time. I'm sorry. Subspace frequencies get garbled, and then I kind of phase out and phase in.
I like that, dude. You're like, well, that phasing out, phasing in. Let's deal with the Mandela thing that I was seeing in the chat room earlier on. And somebody, I think their name was, is it Arlie? I think their name was Arlie. Oh, I hope it was. I'm scrolling up, see if I can find it. But what Arlie was saying was, the gist of it before we get to the Mandela effect itself was, she, I think, name Arlie, she, I'm assuming she, bad times to be assuming anything like that, right, Scott? But I think she was saying, listen, I've come up with a Mandela effect. I found one. I need, confirmation. How do I confirm this? And what I was going to write in the chat room is, but you lose some of it in the chat room. And when I read it, it sounded cheeky. It sounded like I was being dead condescending. And that's not how I want to come across at all. But if you found a Mandela effect, do you know what? Good for you. Because with all Mandela effects, it's a very, very personal thing. And if you were to come along to Discord, for example, and share your Mandela effect, and nobody agreed with you, everyone remembers something different, that does not take away from your Mandela effect. That's your memory of something, okay? Nobody can tell you how you remember something or how your memory of something has changed, if that makes sense, Scott. And I think the thing that she'd come across was one of the people in KISS that had changed the colour of their face, something like that. And I'd been having this conversation with a guest that's coming on next month. Danny, her name is. She's in charge of one of the Facebook groups over in, funnily enough, Facebook. And it was Nancy, my good friend Nancy, put me in touch with her. We were talking about Mandelas. And that's the one thing we were really kind of emphasizing to each other. We both agreed that to hell with what anyone else says about your personal Mandela effects, if you've had one personally, because it's getting to the point now where there's things happening in the house. There's things happening around you geographically that are going to be locale and specific to you. So I hope that helps you, Arlie. Don't think you're going mad. You're not. There are things changing. Some things maybe we are misremembering as well. We can't discount that. But then when you find out that World War One, the US ended up getting involved in World War One, not because of the Lusitania and the sinking thereof. No. It's because of an explosion at Black Tom Island just off New York. Yeah, when you find historical events like that changing, I think that's something that we can all converse about then. But just more little minor ones, hey, have at it. Things are changing. And if you've noticed a change, it's probably changed. Jinx,
Yeah.
Scott, yep.
Yeah, I mean, the Mandela, it's sort of it's on a personal basis, on a personal level,
Big time.
So it's so weird. There's been so many Mandelas that I've ran into over the years, and it's just like,
Was he as big as he looks on the telly, Scott? Mandela. You say you ran into Mandela a few times. I was just wondering if he's as big as he looked on the TV before he died, the first or second. Come on, dude, you like that one. Yeah, come on. I got you there. I got you, dude. I got you. But how about we shift gears now, right? We shift gears into something weird and wonderful. And it was some time ago on a show that's almost been confined to the memory hole. In fact, it may even have been a Mandela effect. And that show, Scott, you know what that show was called. That show was called Hangar 18. Now, Hangar 18 was the show that we used to say was where the hosts, and it was on TFR at the time, but there was a bunch of us. There was me, Scott, Popeye, Johnny Whistles used to be there, Joe Joseph, sometimes Ken Webb and things. And we would say that this is the show that where all of the new listeners that we've managed to build up all week and managed to attract our content will probably unsubscribe from us because we used to take it so close to the bone. The kind of thing that you would never get away with on any platform nowadays. It was like Howard Stern in alternative media, only was it more shocking than Howard Stern at times, dude?
It was like an amalgam of Howard Stern, Opie and Anthony, and like sprinkled in with like red pills and truther stuff. It's literally what it was.
Big time.
It was. There was no way that show that we did would ever fly on YouTube.
I wouldn't even consider it, my man.
It barely flew on TFR, if you think about it. So,
it got too hot to handle. It got too hot to handle, dude.
Yeah, people. If you think the safe space is pushing the edge Hangar 18 was an entirely different animal, an entirely different
species altogether, dude.
Different species altogether, and I think the closest we get to Hangar 18 is the weekend streams. I consider it kind of the spiritual successor to Hangar 18. Albeit it's quite toned down compared to Hangar, but it's kind of got that same vibe and stuff. But
somebody in the chat room, just going back to the Mandelas, Fred says, aren't we all living on our own timelines and interacting with other people's timelines? Maybe, probably, I don't know. It certainly feels like we're jumping from one timeline to other timelines where things are not quite the way that we remembered them happening on the original timeline that we have got the memory from, if that makes sense. Maybe we're having a merging of dimensions right now where we're accessing the memories of other Kev, other Fred, other Scott, and all of that's coming together. who honestly knows at this point? There's people say it's CERN, there's people say it's D-Wave. I had the D-Wave dude on, and myself and Scott laugh every time we get set up for a live stream when we go to my channel page. Geordie Rose is set to autoplay, so we get like 2 or 3 words of him every day. We reckon by this time in 2050, we might just have finished that whole video again. We're taking it in really slow parts, but I mean, I asked him about Mandelas, and Geordie being Geordie at the time, I thought he'd answered my question, but he hadn't. So who knows what's causing them? I really don't know. But back to the Hangar 18-ish type stories. And there was one story that we covered on Hangar 18 that really came to back to my mind when I seen this link here. And it's from a website called znews24.com. And as you've probably read by now, not exactly your typical headline, right? Weird news, you think? Florida man arrested after a sword used in a fight over a wheelbarrow. And Scott, you were saying to me, Kev, anytime you see any story with a Florida man or a Florida woman, you know it's going to be backcrap crazy, right? And immediately, word association in my mind, looking for patterns. When I hear Florida now, it used to be Tampa for me, MacDill Air Force Base. I'd been there, loved it. But in recent times, I've come to know and love Popeye. So when I hear Florida, I think Popeye. And now when I hear Florida, I'm going to think Popeye, mad stories about dudes. And now I'm thinking swords as well, Scott. And how the hell does this all tie into what I was talking about with Hangar 18? Well, it ties in via a very comical clip indeed. And it brings back to mind an episode that we entitled The Sikh Fight Club. Oh yes, check this out, folks, because if this dude in Florida wants to go fighting with swords, head to a Sikh temple sometime soon.
A large number of Sikh devotees had gathered in the sprawling and impressive campus of the Golden Temple to take part in the ceremony.
They're literally having a sword fight. Literally. I mean, this was what, Scott, 2014? This ain't that long ago. This isn't the kind of thing we expected to be going on in the present day world, right?
To mark the 30th anniversary of the attacks inside the temple, the military action that is known as Operation Blue Star.
Can you imagine what like the snowflake police over here in the UK would do if they seen this mob running down the street in London? I mean, they say that we get offended by pictures of knives. Dude, this is like a sword-wielding gang of crazy dudes.
Oh my God.
You remember the fun now, Scott, don't you? You remember that Hangar 18. It's back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That dude. It was so hilarious. And then it was, what was it? First rule of Sikh sword.
Sikh
Fight
Fight
Club. Don't talk about Sikh Fight Club.
Never talk about Sikh Fight Club, dude. Not outside the temple. So is this character here? Is he auditioning to be a part of the Sikh sword troupe? Let's find out. Let's decide whether he's worthy. Whether he's worthy of being put into the old the Sikh Fight Club. It says a Florida man who wanted a wheelbarrow so badly that he'd allegedly go away. That he'd allegedly go the way of the samurai to do so. Now, I haven't read the story, and I'm hoping that there's a gardening reason for him wanting this actual wheelbarrow. Now, what do I mean by gardening reason for him wanting the wheelbarrow? Well, in recent shows and recent weeks, when you factor in the weekend live stream as well, we've come to find that there's some really sick individuals out there. And we know what some people want to do to traffic cones, don't we? So I'm just hoping this guy's got some gardening plans, Scott. And it's not like that dude we read about in Scotland who assaulted a traffic cone. And his reason for doing so was because he couldn't find his preferred option, a pair of trainers. So maybe people are having wheelbarrow love these days.
Yeah, I guess we're going to find out, huh?
Bit of music on for this cat. He needs some music, doesn't he? He definitely needs the music, Scott. So it says here, let's get into it. Curtis Miller. It's a wonder he doesn't have 3 names. This story should have a 3-name dude. You get me? So he was 54 and he was arrested on Monday on a second-degree attempted murder charge stemming from a July the 15th incident where he allegedly brandished a samurai sword to threaten a jogger during a fight over a wheelbarrow, the victim claimed after he found a trash pile. So the Broward County Sheriff's Office released a surveillance video which showed the suspect attacking the jogger, Todd Beavers, with a sword in Oakland Park, Florida. Oh, I think that's Florida, I don't know. As he tried to pull the wheelbarrow away from him. So in an interview with news outlet WSVN, Beavers said he asked himself, is he really going to do this with his sword? I couldn't believe that he was really going to try and kill me for a cart. The man said he was on a jog when he spotted the wheelbarrow, which he thought was in a pile of trash that was free for taking. Apparently, Miller spotted the cart at the same time. Right, hang on. Scott, I mean, come on. You're both looking at this pile of stuff. At what point do you think this is like some kind of like, it's a duel at dawn? You're both standing there. You're getting ready. 10 feet apart from the wheelbarrow. Who's going to draw first? Woof. Boy goes, he brings a sword to a wheelbarrow contest. What's that all about?
This sounds like something like two randonauts running into each other where the wheelbarrow is located, right? You know what I mean? How it's
and in the wheelbarrow is a liter-filled bottle of golden liquid. That's all we're gonna say. It's a random golden liquid in there, and you know what? There's even people on the internet that would find that quite nice. It quenched the thirst, shall we say?
Yeah, I guess it would really bring out the Bear Grylls in some people, but look, I mean, how random is that?
Bring out the Bear Grylls in some people. I like it, dude. I like that. I like it, man. This is what happened to both of these people when they seen the wheelbarrow. Though they must have thought, if I don't get this wheelbarrow before he does, that's it. I'm done for. I'm dead. It's survival of the fittest, dude.
I mean, but really think about it. It just shows how random like our world is, right? Like these two random guys, these two random people, both spotted a wheelbarrow sitting in a pile of trash and decided they wanted to. Yeah.
Oh my word.
And one of these guys just happens to be like rocking a samurai sword. I mean, how
you do.
And
I think the story definitely needs the dancing Kev involved. It really does. This is a story worthy of the dancing Kev. There he is. We'll put him up there. Yeah. Give me strength, people. Give me strength. But of course, it's Freaky Friday today, right? And that means myself and Scotty and Joe will be back with 3 hours later on tonight. I'm going to look up Mystery Universe just for a headline before we go. Take us up to our 90-minute mark. And of course, with Scotty being thrown into that tech mayhem at the start, dude, if that had been me, I'd have been like collapsing under the pressure. Nothing worse. Just about to start doing something and the tech goes tits up. Bad.
I rebooted like I said I was going to do, remember? And then after I rebooted, there was absolutely no internet connectivity. Not even Skype would connect. And I was like, oh, no. So I had to stay calm, stay cool, stay collected, and just power down that router and cross my fingers and hope that once she booted back up, we would have connectivity.
And if all else had failed, Scott, just get a samurai sword out. Because that router in your computer, this moment depends on it. Your life is dependent on it, dude. Threaten it with a sword, man.
Hey, I actually have 2 sets of samurai swords.
Oh, really. Don't tell somebody in Britain that, dude. Don't tell I could probably get arrested for knowing you. That's how bad it's getting over here, right? I seen somebody the other day that they were eating their steak in a restaurant. And the next minute, a SWAT team came in through the window, man. Whoa, dangerous steak knife. Poor dude ended up having to hack bits off with his teaspoon. What the hell's happening over here, dude? You know when you're having to eat steak with a ladle and a fork. You're pretty screwed, my man. Pretty screwed.
You kooky people in the UK
Always taking it that little bit too far, eh? Just that little bitty too far, Scott. But yeah, let us dip our toe into the weird and wonderful world that is the... Well, I've just covered Scott up. I didn't mean to do that. There we go. He's back. When Scott isn't blinking in and out of reality, I'm cutting him off the screen, right? So let's have a look here. And for anyone who likes the woo, let me tell you, this is a site that's absolutely full of it. So we've got alien parasites in fact and fiction. Do you think the black goo might be in there?
Can I just stop for a second and just let's revel in the glory that is that grade A level CGI used for that picture.
It's awesome, isn't it?
I mean, the face.
It's brilliant.
I've never seen such realistic and mind-blowing detail in a CGI image.
You know who I'm going to put on there? You know we could put Joe on there in a heartbeat. It would take me like 2 minutes to get Joe on there. I'm going to do it. You know it'll be there for the weekend stream, folks. Hey, if we get a video of Joe, I swear I can do a gif of him now. In fact, no. Leave it with me. You like the dancing, Kev? By the end of the weekend, we're going to have the dancing Scott, and we'll have the dancing Joe as well. Yes, I will find an app, Scott. You know me.
Yes, I love you guys at Mysterious Universe, but whoever's doing your CGI photos there, kind of.
I'm liking the look of this. Oh, hang on. Let's go to my homeland, shall we? The legend of Scotland's upright wolf things. Are you kidding me on? Like as in like bona fide, like dogmen type characters? What's going on here, dude? Well, while we think about that and while you get ready for that, let's give me and Scotty just 30 seconds, a minute to regroup and get ready for the woo. It's said that there is a land, or it is a land unlike no other. From the Loch Ness Monster, to the shape-shifting kelpies, the fairies that run around glens, all the way to the Scottish Wolfman, or shall we call him the McDogman? Oh, come on, that was good, Scott. That was good. I was trying to get it all atmospheric and stuff going on there. Come on, dude. That was good. Here we go, though. Here we go. Let's take a look, shall we? Let's dip our toe into the weird and brilliant world of Mysterious Universe. As you can see, we're doing it raw. We're doing it live. I didn't even bother to look for this link before the show. Oh, look at that, man. That's lovely. You know, I'm not a dog man, Scott. I've always had cats all my life. But if I was ever to have a dog, I'm not saying I'd go and get myself a wolfman from Scotland, but I'd have a husky. Huskies are cool dogs, dude.
We've had huskies before.
Really?
We've had 2 huskies. Oh, yeah. They're awesome dogs, dude.
Yeah,
awesome.
Man. They're a cut above. There's something else, you know? So we come down here, and this is from Nick Redfern. Oh, goodness me. We need to get Nick on, Scott. Come on, man.
We got to get Nick back on.
Remember he absolutely loved it. He's like, just hit me up anytime. That's it. We're getting on it. So it says in her 1933 book, Shetland Traditional Lore, the noted folklorist Jessie Margaret Saxby wrote, quote, "The wolver was a creature like a man with a wolf's head. He had short brown hair all over him. His home was a cave dug out the side of a steep knoll. Halfway up a hill, he didn't molest folk if folk didn't molest him." Oh, dear me. We're getting back into the traffic cone kind of type of thing here. What is it in Scotland with molesting things? Just leave things alone, you Scottish people. Oh, wait, that would be me as well then. He was fond of fishing and had a small rock in the deep water, which is known to this day as Wolver's Stane. Can you imagine that, Scott, just wandering along, like down by the river, and then all of a sudden you see some chap fishing down the way. You get closer and you're thinking, that's a bit of a big head he's got. It turns round and it's like a big wolf dude. What's going on there?
Woo.
Talk about shape-shifting kelpies. I think the kelpie's in play here. See how it's by the water? Just saying. There he would sit fishing silks and pilticks for hour after hour. He was reported to have frequently left a few fish on the windowsill of some poor body. Unlike the traditional werewolf, the wolver was not a shapeshifter. Its semi-human, semi-wolf appearance was natural and unchanging. One of the most fascinating and certainly disturbing accounts of a wolver came from Elliot O'Donnell. Shortly after the start of the 20th century, O'Donnell interviewed a man named Andrew Warren. I wonder if these wolfmen live in warrens. I'm sorry. Who had a startling story to tell. Even Anne liked that joke, not. O'Donnell carefully recorded every word that Warren had to say. The priceless account reads, get ready folks, "I was about 15 years of age at the time and had for several years been residing with my grandfather, who was an elder in the kirk." And that's what we call churches in Scotland. "He was much interested in geology and literally filled the house with fossils from the pits and caves round where we dwelt. Now one morning he came home in a great state of excitement and made me go with him to look at some ancient remains he had found at the bottom of a dried up tarn." That's another word for a lake, or in Scotland, loch. He said, "Look," he cried, bending down to point at them. "Here is a human skeleton with a wolf's head. What do you make of it?" I told him I did not know, but supposed it must be some kind of monstrosity. It's a werewolf," he rejoined. "That's what it is, a werewolf. This island was once overrun with satyrs and werewolves. Help me carry it to the house." I did as he bid me, and we placed it on the table in the back kitchen. That evening I was left alone in the house, and my grandfather and the other members of the household having gone to the kirk. For some time I amused myself reading, and then, fancying I heard a noise in the back premises, I went to the kitchen. There was no one about, and becoming convinced that it could only have been a rat that had disturbed me, I sat on the table alongside the alleged remains of the werewolf and waited to see if the noises would recommence. It was thus waiting in a listless sort of way, my back bent, my elbows on my knees, looking at the floor and thinking of nothing in particular, when there came a loud rat-tat-tat of knuckles on the window pane. I immediately turned in the direction of the noise and encountered, to my alarm, a dark face looking at me. At first dim and indistinct, it became more and more complete until it developed into a perfectly defined head of a wolf terminating in the neck of a human being. Now we're getting into the good stuff. Though greatly shocked, my first act was to look in every direction for a possible reflection, but in vain. There was no light either without or within. By the way, Scott, can I just point out that we don't speak like this in Scotland anymore, with thuses and without or within and whereas and all the rest of it, right? Other than that, from the setting sun, nothing that could in any way have produced an illusion. I looked at the face and marked each feature intently. It was unmistakably a wolf's face, the jaws slightly distended, the lips wreathed in savage snarl, the teeth sharp and white, the eyes light green, the ears pointed. The expression on the face was diabolically malignant, and as it gazed straight at me, my horror was intense as my wonder. I think the werewolf's getting into my head here. Can't read anymore. It seemed to notice, for a look of savage exultation crept into its eyes, and it raised one hand, a slender hand like that of a woman. It's a wolf woman. Dude, what's going on here, dude? Though with prodigiously long and curved fingernails, menacingly, as if about to dash in the window pane. Remembering what my grandfather had told me about evil spirits, I crossed myself. But as this had no effect, and I really feared the thing would get at me, I ran out of the kitchen and shut and locked the door, remaining in the hall till my family returned. My grandfather was much upset when I told him what had happened, and attributed my failure to make the spirit depart to my want of faith. Had he been there, he assured me, he would soon have got rid of it. But he nevertheless made me help him remove the bones from the kitchen, and we reinterred them in the very spot where we had found them, and where, for aught I know to the contrary, they still lie. Dr. Carl Schuker, who has made a careful study of this particular case, says, quite aside from its highly sensational storyline, it is rather difficult to take seriously any account featuring someone, Warren's grandfather, who seriously believed that the Hebrides were once overrun with satyrs and werewolves. By comparison, and despite his youthful age, Warren's own assumption that the skeleton was that of a deformed human would seem eminently more sensible. At least until the remainder of his account is read. Notwithstanding Warren's claim that his account was factual, however, the arrival of what was presumably another deceased wolf-headed entity's kind, seeking the return of the skeleton to its original resting place, draws upon a common theme in traditional legend and folklore. Oh yes, Scotty. Oh yeah. Yes.
You know, the dog man and the wolf man sort of stories always fascinate me, right? And so does this rule the Kelpie out because they say this isn't a shapeshifter?
Yeah, I think this is a totally different thing altogether, Scott. Totally different thing, yeah.
I think so.
Totally different entity, totally different ball game we're dealing with here.
Yeah, I think so. You know, did you know that there's actually a website? Let me look real quick. There's actually a website called dogmanresearch.com.
Oh,
and I think they have all kinds.
Dogman Research?
Yeah, dogmanresearch.com.
Hang on, but you know, somebody in the chat room here, it's somebody called Chuck, I think. Chuck Bam Bam. Dogresearch.com then.
Yeah, just do the Dogman Research.
Dogman. Idiot Kev. Dogman Research.com. Yeah, Chuck Bam Bam is going to be absolutely wetting himself right now because he always asks me, or she always asks me about the Dogman. So what have you brought us into here, Scotty?
I guess this is a site that archives sightings of the Dogman and other cryptids around.
Right, what is the Dogman? Eyewitness descriptions of the Dogman slightly vary on occasion, but the general consensus is the same. The Dogman is said to resemble a large bipedal wolf, or dog-like creature. So, Scott, before we get further into it then, it's like you've got the skunk ape in Florida, you've got the Sasquatch, Northwest, you've got the Yeti, the Himalayas, the Yowie over in Australia. I'm assuming then that this here in Scotland, we've got this kind of Wolfman type thing, or what were they calling it? What did they call it again? Something up the top they called it.
The Wolver.
Yeah, the Wolver. That was it. The Wolver. That's what we've got over here. So it goes on to say then, dogman are reported as being being much larger and longer than wolves, and are known to walk on two legs. Since regular grey wolves aren't noted for being in places like southern Wisconsin, where there are a lot of dogman sightings, we don't believe them to be grey wolves. The Canadian wolf, on the other hand, is a much larger canine than the grey, but it is not found in Wisconsin. Oh, no shit, being the Canadian wolf. We at the DFRO, that's cool. Dogman research, I take it, something, I don't know. Subscribe to the thought that these could possibly be flesh and blood creatures. We think dogman could either be a wolf-dog hybrid that stands on two legs at times, or perhaps an ancient species thought to be extinct, or that is yet to be discovered. Due to the fact that the creatures have not yet been proven by science to exist, we really can't rule out anything on what they may actually be. And that brings us to the purpose of this organization, to find out what they really are. Interesting, Scott. Wisconsin, did you know that they were associated there with the old dogman stuff?
Well, there's been dogman sightings all over the U.S., you know, and I actually have I have something pulled up on that website that you were just on, or that I just showed you, of a dogman sighting not too far from where I live.
Dude, get into it.
Yeah. So this is from 2014, and it says here. Actually, I'll drop this in the Skype so you can bring it up.
Okay,
too.
man.
Obviously, the picture is just it's not real, but
tell me, don't say that, Scott. Don't say that. Don't ruin it. What a picture. Dang, dude. If it looked like this thing, we're all in trouble. You know, we're wasting our time worrying about terrorists and caves and asteroids, because if something like that's on the prowl, we're done, dude.
Okay, so it says this sighting report was sent to the DFRO on June 29th, 2014. The actual incident occurred at approximately 10:45 p.m. Central Time on June 28th, 2014, outside of Lawrence, Kansas. And I'm only like probably about 20 miles from Lawrence. So this is pretty interesting. The guy says, hey, last night I was driving home from camping at Clinton Lake. I know where that's at. And saw a deer running across the road. So I slowed down to make sure she didn't have any buddies with her. At that time, I saw red eyes looking at my truck, like eye shine when a deer looks in a light, but just a dark red. I grabbed my mag light and shined it towards them, and it was something like a dog. The back legs were shorter than the front, little to no hair, and the size of a Great Dane.
Sounds about the same description, doesn't it? Sounds like it fits the wolver, the dog man.
Yeah. It was well built. Its mouth was open, and it had the teeth of a canine. It took 3 steps to get across a 2-lane road. I was raised in the woods, and I'm a hunting guide. I've seen coyotes with mange and with defects. I've been 10 yards from a bear and closer to a mountain lion. But when those red eyes looked at me, fear shot into me and I couldn't move. I actually started to shake. By the time I thought about taking a photo with my cell phone, he was gone. The whole thing lasted about 35 seconds. And this is from a guy named Michael Ryan. It says, during our conversation, I asked him if there was any chance that what he saw could have been a Bigfoot, to which he replied, I've never seen a Bigfoot and I don't know how they act.
Good answer. Who knows?
Hey, he was honest. He's like, hey, I've never seen a Bigfoot. I don't know how they act, you know. He said, but this looked like something that spends most of its time on all 4 legs. When it crossed the road, it was on 4 legs, but once it was in the field, he said it appeared to stand up. And then went on all fours.
Dude, I mean, folks, I know this is like an artist's impression, right? But we go with that a lot when it comes to images of planets and space and things. That's terrifying. If that stands up on 2 legs and starts bimbling through a field, Scott, I don't know if my old ticker can take that, dude. I don't think I'd be living to tell the tale.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. That's pretty wild. And I mean, I know where Clinton Lake is. That is like a heavily wooded area around that whole lake. Lots of woods. And
Is it a national park area, Scott?
no, not
I
really.
only
mean,
ask because of the whole like David Paulides and 411 and Wuhan forests.
it's a state park. I mean, you could see kind of the outline where they have the green. That's all the state park area, and so there's definitely plenty of like uninhabited area and rural area around there, forested area, or wooded area around there where something could be. But yeah, that's pretty.
Dude, I didn't realize you like lived in the heartland of the cabal. We've got like Clinton State Park. We've got Clinton Lake. Do you ever see her flying over on her broomstick, Scott?
Shh.
Okay, I know. I couldn't resist, dude. I couldn't resist. That's cool though. Did you know that your state was like had a Dogman kind of reference, a site in there? No.
I didn't know about the Dogman. There's been Bigfoot sightings in Kansas.
You see, I'd be knackered. I'd be screwed if I lived where you are, Scott, right? Because that's the kind of story, if you were ended up in the middle of it, you would say, dang, we ain't in Kansas anymore. But technically, you wouldn't be correct, because you are still in Kansas.
Exactly. We're still in Kansas. We're still in Kansas.
I made Dan laugh. It's a good day. It's a good day, Scott.
Nice.
No
nice.
shoes incoming. And folks, talking of incoming, let's get ourselves another emoji, shall we? We need more members to the channel, and we'll be having a members-only chat stream on Sunday. Anyone welcome to come and watch, but if you want to chat, you'll have to become a member of the channel, you see. So we'll be doing that on Sunday. And of course, the more members we get, we've had one already today. I can't thank them enough, but that takes us to within 16. Yes, 16 more members, and we get the new emoji. Now, Scott, something that the mothership, the London HQ, were very impressed with was the fact that we open it up to the floor when it comes to the new emojis. We let not just current members pick the new emojis, but everyone gets their say with an emoji. And I think they actually took note of that. I think that's going to be on Google's next kind of content creator class. Let the audience choose the emojis.
See, look, Kev's becoming one of these, what do they call them? Quote unquote influencers.
Yeah, they were quite impressed with that. The look on the face of the girl when I told her, she was much impressed. So because the chat is so good here, why not keep this going? So remember, keep it in your mind, folks. Talk amongst yourselves. Head on over to Discord. In fact, I'm going to create a emoji suggestion room. So that way you can put your pictures in there, and that's one place where we can all congregate and amass a trove of fun for the emojis. Yes, Mr. Scott.
Yes. Hey, do an image search real quick. Speaking of Google.
What are we after?
Just type in altered beast.
Anything could come up here, dude. Altered beast
and
images.
Look the cover to the game, and tell me.
That is a dog man. Oh, hang on. Get out. Oh, where are you going?
Whoa,
there we go.
whoa,
There it is.
whoa.
Yeah, there he is. That's a dog man, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Big time. Remember the Mega Drive days? Oh, Scott, come on, dude. Remember the Mega Drive days, man?
Yes. I still have my Sega.
Sega.
I still have my Sega. Yep, I still have my Sega, and I've got the 32X extension still for the top of it.
While we're on this, let me show you the ZX81, right? Because this was kind of like, I'm assuming it was a more British thing because it was Sir Clive Sinclair, right? This was my first computer. And Mum, if you're watching, I thank you because you gave me this when I was very, very young indeed. But it started a passion, a thirst. It brought out the geek in me. Take a look at this, Scotty boy. Look at that, my man. Look at that setup, eh? Oh,
all right.
1K.
Nice.
1K memory, dude. 1K. You could upgrade to 16K. Look at that. What a bad boy, man.
That's a beast. That's a beast.
I
my
remember.
friend.
I remember the book. I remember that. I used to like write lines of code back in the day, dude. It was awesome, man. I made a wee guy run across the screen. That was it. That was the height of my coding days.
My first computer was a Tandy. I don't know if you remember the Tandies back in the day.
I do. We used to have Tandy stores over here, actually, man. There we go, dude. There we go.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that bad boy. I remember walking past shops, right? And that was like, it was like the D wave to me back then, dude. I used to look in the window of the shop and think to myself, oh, one day I'm going to have something like that. Think of the things. And look at that graphics on the screen, folks. Look at that. It's horrid. It's absolutely horrid. But at the time, look at the graphics, Scott. This thing's absolutely immense.
It's not horrid.
Look at that. Look at it. It's brilliant.
The old school pixelated graphics are making a comeback, right? I mean, look at Minecraft.
Yep.
And look at a lot of these games that are coming out that are kind of throwing back to that retro pixel sort of art style, which is pretty cool.
Here's my first real beast though, Scotty. You ready? Oh no, that's not it. No, Amiga computer. Yeah, it was the computer, man. There it is, dude.
Yeah, there we go. That's on that Tandy level right there. That's
Look
the
at that,
Tandy
dude. You used to get peripherals and shit. Come on. You got like a mouse, a thing that moves a pointer on the screen? What? What is this alien contraption? The joystick? Look at it, man. Look at that bad boy. Eh?
Nice.
I think I had that very joystick. That's the thing. I think I went through about 3 of them. The memories, eh?
I remember my Tandy. I don't think it had an OS loaded. Well, I mean, it had some kind of operating system, but it wasn't Windows. I know I had to do command line on it. You know, the old school pop the disk in. You had to hit a://run.exe or whatever. It was old school, man. It was old school. And
Commodore 64.
I was a kid when I had that, so that just shows that, like, you know, you had to learn pretty quick. You know, kids nowadays, they're used to just the app being there, and you just click the button and it goes. When you were a kid back then and you had a computer, you pretty much had to learn command line before you even got anything going on the computer, because you had to manually boot stuff up via the command line. So
here's the other one I had, dude. This was before the Amiga, the Amstrad. Look, had a built-in cassette recorder. And
come on now,
dude, I couldn't afford.
Cool.
I couldn't even afford. I couldn't afford this one, the color one. I had to go for that thing there, and it was the best ever. It was like playing things in like paranormal mode way before like Paranormal Activity and all these ghost hunting shows came out. I had a machine that was like spiritual, dude. You were seeing things that didn't exist anywhere else, man. It's awesome.
That is so cool. The screen looks really cool. Like it has a weird vibe to it. Like, you know, just the way it.
Look at it. Even when it's off, it's got that green glow to it. You know. It's so brilliant.
It's almost like what's that game, Fallout?
Well, that game there is the Olympics. I remember that one. Yes, I remember that one. You used to batter buttons. Oh, batter buttons, dude, to get them running and then take off. And you probably wouldn't fly today having a character that particular color that they've got on screen there. It'd probably offend people, the dark tone of this one's skin. I'm just saying.
They only had a specific color palette to work with, Kev.
I know that. Don't let reasons like that get in the way of today's outrage culture, dude. You know? When you can drag up tweets from 20 years ago and cancel people's careers and things, don't let that get in the way of this stuff, you know?
I will say, though, you know, my exposure at a young age to the Tandy, you know, computer and command line and all of that good stuff, that was knowledge that carried on with me over the years, and it really helped when it came to me like learning Linux, because Linux is like a throwback.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, when I first started learning Linux and learning terminal commands and stuff, I was like, this is just kind of like the old school days, the old school DOS days. Just you got to learn command lines and all that good stuff. And so yeah, I actually think,
dude, now this was the game, and I've seen it in the chat room. But Susie, you brought it all back to me. Manic Miner on a Spectrum 48K. That was the berries. Probably one of the best. Even now, one of the best games. Do you ever play Manic Miner, Ann? Remember that one back in the day? Look at that. That's just awesome. Look at it, Scotty. Look at it go there, man. And you were mentioning operating systems a moment ago, right? And I was looking at the Amstrad. Now, the Amstrad used to be owned by this cat here, Alan Sugar, okay? Make sure. Can we see him on the screen? No, we can't. Oh, there he is there, Alan Sugar. Now, famous story about Alan Sugar. He owned the Amstrad, like you've seen. We'll go back to it. I'll show you what the Amstrad looked like again. This thing here, okay? So there's the Amstrad. And Alan Sugar, talks about a meeting he had at one point when he was the CEO of the Amstrad company. He says this absolute geek from America walked into the room, right? Pushing the glasses up his nose. Absolute, no personal skills whatsoever. He couldn't even get a conversation going with this guy. And he's sitting across the desk from me, and he's trying to convince me that whatever the hell he was trying to talk about, all I took from it was he wanted to put Windows on computers. And I'm thinking, what the hell? What are you talking about, you absolute fool? Windows on a computer? It's got a screen. Oh, you've got the computer. That's enough. You don't need something to run it, let alone a window on it. Yeah, long story short, that was Bill Gates pitching Microsoft. That was him pitching the OS of Windows to Alan Sugar. And yes, he says, yeah, probably the biggest mistake of my business life.
Yeah, because the Amstrad probably had the hardware capability to run Windows, and he probably he didn't understand that it was an operating system.
That's the thing. He had no concept of it, Scott. No concept he just thought people wanted computers. What do you mean an operating system? They've got the computer. Do what you want with it.
Yeah, he didn't understand that it was software to help make the computer easier to use, And boy, I bet that computer would have looked cool running Windows, the Amstrad, because it already had a cool design. I like that design.
Yeah, it was a really cool design, dude. I mean, look at that.
I like that keyboard and everything. It's just kind of a
look at this show off. This show off's got the color monitor. My best mate in school, he had the color monitor. Yeah.
Wow.
I loved him to bits, but at the same time, I'd have done anything to take his monitor off him, Scott. It's like the wheelbarrow duel, right? We're both staring at the monitor. Who gets it first? But we're almost out of time here, folks. And of course, we've got another show tonight. We've got Freaky Friday. So, Scott, are you intending to get naked later on? What? Kev's asking if Scott's going to get naked. I'm only asking that because depending on Scott's clothing at the time, whether our Scotty has new clothes or not the Emperor, Scotty's new clothes, that depends on whether we simulcast or not, dude. No,
I won't be getting naked.
I thought you were going to say, no, I won't be getting clothes on. I can't be arsed for you, Kev. I'm just going to sit here naked.
I'll let my room cool off a little bit before I'll de-shirt for a little while and then I'll re-shirt before the show. But speaking of computers, these pesky things like to generate a lot of heat.
Oh,
and
yes.
If you have a beefy video card in them,
dude, I'm just getting all nostalgic. That was the best game ever. The Smurfs on the Atari. Yep. And this little Smurf here, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out what you were doing. You just had to walk along, you had to jump up steps, and from time to time you'd have a thing like this streaking across the screen. It wasn't really streaking, but you had to time it just right. Yeah, you just had to time it just right, Scotty.
It was your old school primitive platformer game, basically, and oh man, the Atari definitely does bring back memories. I remember
there was a way you could do that. There was a thing you could do in it, and I know I put that bad word on the screen there. I'll take it off. But there was a button you could press, Scott, right, where your character would squat down, and it honestly looked like he was doing a number 2. It looked like he was curling one out, man. Me and my mum used to play it. And that used to be the funniest thing about the game. It used to make a mad noise when he sat down like he was doing a big number 2. Brilliant.
That's hilarious.
Yes. Isn't that a form of time traveling, Scott? When you take yourself back to your youth, you surround yourself in the imagery, the music, the culture of that time. Is that in itself not a way to not physically transport you in time, but maybe consciously?
Yeah, and I think that's why nostalgia is so big, right? You know, and it's kind of like people our age, or now you see this kind of revitalization of like the 80s and 90s nostalgia, you know, especially with like the art and stuff, the music like vaporwave and retrowave. I mean, look, even the graphics that you have for the beginning of the stream, you know, it's got that 80s kind of retro vibe to it, and you know, I think people kind of like to look back at, times past, and it's all a nostalgia thing, and it basically is like a form of time travel.
When Joe looks back to the past, he sees floods and animals entering 2 by 2.
Oh my God!
It's even funnier when he's not here to defend himself. It truly is. I think so, anyway. Scott, before we go, should we leave people in a very disturbed state of mind? Will we play them, not the dancing Kev that we've all come to get a little laugh at. We've all seen the dancing Kev, right? But we've also got this other version of Kev, and I don't think he's me, because I never remember making this video. So whoever made this one's an alter Kev. He's naughty Kev. He could get up to some trouble, this one, Scott. We're going to have to watch out for what kind of shenanigans this Kev gets up to. So I'm trying to find him here. Is he still here? He is here. Okay. We'll actually take away. We'll give him the floor as well. We need some music for this, Scotty, before we go. And folks, you're going to meet the more disturbing. I mean, the funny Kev with the pineapple head on, he's cool. He's the kind of guy that you could get down with, have a laugh with. But I'm not too sure about this next character at all, Scott. What do you think before I switch him on, man? This is a different kind of feeling to it altogether, right?
Just knowing the back history of the furry movement and a lot of the videos I've watched with Medicare talking about it adds a whole new dimension of disturbing to the picture, or to the animation. Without that foreknowledge, it probably wouldn't be as disturbing and a little more comical. But there's a
dude, I'll die if Medicare ever wants to take on our show or talk about this show. That's the day Kev Baker leaves the internet. I tell you that right now, Scott. I ain't like no Montegraph. I'm gone. Monty has somehow survived the Medicare. Dude, I haven't got a strong enough constitution to be ripped apart by Medicare anytime soon. That would destroy the channel. As much as I love the dude, never let us fall foul of the Medicare. Oh no. No.
No. He keeps everyone straight. So.
Okay, so are we ready for Furry Kev? The disturbing Furry Kev. Well, I think he can only come out to... I'm going to try and make it a contrast. We've got this... It's disturbing, but I think it might even be more disturbing if I play clown music. Right? Are we ready, folks? Are we ready? Whoa. He's a shady dude, Scott. Look at that shady face he pulls at the end there. Isn't that just pure cheek? Like I say, Scott, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing that I've learned how to do GIFs from videos and stuff like that. But I tell you what, that disturbing little face at the end of it's like, look at me, yeah. I'm not the real Kev. I'm Furry Kev. Furry.
if somebody was to see a cryptid that looked like that running through the forest in the middle of the night,
if one of them came out the forest at you, dude, no way, man. Yeah. You see,
that's when you just go home and you take as many black pills as possible.
who knew, Scott, that me and you could sit here, talk for an hour and a half, really good, interesting conversation, but it was a stupid bunny that stole the show right at the very end. The chat room are in raptures. They love it. What the hell, dude?
Well, you know, it is what it is, man.
It would have been a lot more disturbing now I think about it if I just put a traffic cone down by his feet.
Ooh,
yeah, you see, then you wonder why he's all celebratory and things. Just out of camera shot, folks. He's got a wheelbarrow, a sword, and a traffic cone. You ain't messing with this bunny. And at night, he's crossing right across the road in front of your car. That shit's gonna screw you up forever. That's the kind of thing you don't unsee, Scott.
No. I'm not gonna be able to unsee
Get him
this.
gone. Yeah, that's disturbing, man. He's bad juju, that one. Woo! Not good. Not good. But folks, we will be back later on today. Roughly about 5 hours from now, or just under, with Freaky Friday. I hope the Dogman Woo warmed people up for what myself and Scott are billing as the Bates Motel Freaky Friday. Because we're going full psycho. We're going Norman! We've asked our mums to contribute some of the content for today's paranormal stuff. So perhaps with Scott being dressed, and since I at least owe Joe the floor time to respond to the attacks we've made on him today, we might just simulcast, Scott.
Yes, we might just do that. And for those of you out there who caught our, was it the weekend stream or was it Freaky Friday? I think it was the weekend stream when we were talking about Shadow Dude.
Hang on, yep. I'm just going to look at the titles of and I'll remember. I should remember what one it was. Right, hang on then. Weekend Woo.
Yeah, it was one of those.
Or was it Freaky Friday?
It might have been. I know we were either we were on YouTube, so it might have been a simulcast or it might have been a weekend. But the shadow dude thing we were talking about. Remember how crazy that footage was? And yeah, I think it might have been on a Freaky Friday. But my mom said she sent me an update to Shadow Dude, and that somebody went in and investigated the house.
Oh, wow.
So it's not just the guy, but I guess he brought somebody in. And so, yeah, and she said that there was quite a bit of crazy stuff going on. I haven't got a chance to check it out yet, but it is sitting in my messenger inbox along with the other wheelbarrow full of
Well, now you careful with the wheelbarrows, Scott. You don't want somebody come jumping out with a sword, especially some lunatic in a rabbit suit. Do you know what I mean?
So I know that my mom has provided a bunch of paranormal woo for me to dig through, and I know that your mom provided you with a bunch of woo, and I think Joe's wife is going to be providing us. We should have plenty of content for tonight. No doubt.
Angela is. We joke about Ange and Joe. How Joe's got the brain, and it's so underestimating the Ange by calling her the brain, because she is, and she's got some good links going on there, some good ideas, some good personal stories. It's it's a.
Ange does not give you the blue pill. She gives you the woo pill.
Oh yeah, big time. And it ain't no sugar coated with Ange or Joe. Although Joe's usually shoveling in red pills, but really, after today's stream, folks, we'll be able to see through that illusion. They're not red, they're black. Oh yes, indeed. Indeed. We'll probably be deemed as like the actual title of this stream might get us demonetized right away for being like, for bad people. because we've used a color in there, Scott. It probably wouldn't surprise me.
I don't know. Maybe if we said the white pill, though, they would say that we were supremacists or something. So
Yeah.
maybe it is good. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows anymore? From red pills to blue pills to white pills to black pills. Me and Scotty will be back later over on tfrlive.com, and we will be simulcasting here at the same time as well. If you want to do me a favour to really show that the home of the Kev Baker Show is Truth Frequency Radio, open up TFR in a tab as well, and that way, you know, we're not taking anyone away from a network that gave the Kev Baker Show or Freaky Friday or anything like that a chance. So that way we keep everyone happy, Scott.
Yep, that's the beauty of technology. We can simulcast, we can do multiple platforms at once, and we can show love and support to both platforms. And yeah, like Kev said, if you guys want to head over to tfrlive.com,
you get 2 chats for the price of 1.
Yeah, 2 chats for the price of 1. If you want to test your multitasking.
Scott, 2 chats for the price of none. You don't pay for either of them.
Yeah, 2 chats for the price of none. Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, the simulcast will be commencing here in about, 5 hours, something like that.
4 hours and 43 minutes. 4 hours, 43 minutes. T minus 4 hours and 43. Somebody in the chat room, Polly, says 50 grey pills. For some reason, I started thinking of 50 Shades of Grey. I know, I'm a pervert. What can I say? But maybe that was actually a metaphor for something else, that film. Maybe it was actually, it comes across as being all sexual and all that kind of thing. But really, maybe it was 50 Shades of taking the NPC grey pill. And on that note, folks, don't forget, hit like, become a member. Come on back, join us again, whatever it is. We just love you all being here. And remember to tell everyone else about the safe space, somewhere where you never know what you're getting, but it's definitely worth cracking open the finger paints, building up the Play-Doh, getting a game of Jenga on the go, and chilling out with me, sometimes Scotty, sometimes others, who knows. But today, I hope you all enjoyed the fact that we learnt about the most dangerous drug on the internet. It's causing so many problems, and it's transferring into the real world as well. And beware the bleak pill pushers. So yes, the black pill, ladies and gents.
Although it is a dangerous pill, it is sometimes necessary in small doses.
The black pill is a pill best swallowed if you have big kahunas. We're out of here.
Yes.